As a child, I always had this ability to paint and draw. I saw from quite an early age a future in something to do with art. I got into the art school at the age of 16, and I had 3 years at the art school. I did a year's foundation, and I was pretty certain I was going to do the advertising and the graphic design course. In 2010, I decided that was enough. I've had enough. I'd had 43 years in advertising, and I was able to retire. I took myself back to art school. I went to Putney School of Art because I'd lost all the techniques of how to paint and everything. So I had about 4 or 5 years at Putney School of Art. And at the same time as that, I got myself a studio down in Wimbledon, and I would go there when I wasn't at art school and start doing my own stuff. I paint the figure, predominantly the female form, but I've also done a bit of still life, and more recently, this last year, I've concentrated on a lot of still life. And I paint from the model, and I draw from the model, but I also paint from photographs because some of the poses I choose are impossible for a model to hold. I've been painting now for about 9 or 10 years. My early work, I've got some in this show, which is quite different to the more recent work, and there's a painter that really inspires me, and that's a painter called Ewan Uglo. And I love his work. I go and look at his work. I love his methodology. It's all about interrogating the subject in front of you, really looking at it and trying to get it right and trying to get it correct. Through measuring, I like his way of painting, which is he paints in sort of flat tones that sort of butt up to each other. He never really blends, and I try to do that. I try to emulate him in my own way, like the studio a lot. And as I say, more recently I produced a lot of small still lives of single objects like fruit and vegetables and things like that. As an art director, my language was visual. You know, I worked with a copywriter, so their language would have been words. Mine was more visual. So one was always creating, you know, pictures and shape and form and positioning things, and so that sensibility never leaves you. It's almost a curse, actually.
Absolutely fabulous. Love Nigel and love Nigel's work. I like the fact that everything is so different. So I've got one of the charcoals, Brave Girl in the middle there is mine, lent for tonight, and I just have so much of his work scattered on my house, but quite a few of the charcoals, but also I love the way he deals with the oil.
You can see by the marks that Nigel leaves on his paintings how he measures, and everything is very precisely measured. That's a very interesting way of painting.
I really like the smaller paintings that he's done of different vegetables and the pork pie. They're really lovely, and I think they would work, particularly if you bought several, maybe 3 or 4, and put them in a row. They look really effective in a row, so yeah.
Angularity in the shapes and the curves, and you are surprised by that because you expect to see softer curves. Instead, he gives you angular shapes where you least expect them, which I think is very refreshing.
I really paint for me, and it's all about looking, interrogating, measuring, getting it as correct as possible. My aim in painting is just to try and improve. I haven't got much time left because I'm 71, so there isn't a lot. There isn't a lot of time. I do like being a figurative and realistic artist and capturing something. I have a style, which, as I say, is very inspired by you and Uglo. A lot of people are, a lot of painters are in London particularly. So I mean, that really is it.